Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2024 Grammy Go Conference presented by Amazon Music, live in New York City. Today, we're here to dive into all things showbiz, and what better place to do it than the city of Broadway and TV shows? But before we get into it all, let's introduce the Grammy Go representatives from across the nation who put this whole conference together for you today. Introducing Chloe Sarmiento, Della Anderson, Jade Bacon, Jasmine Gordon, Kirsten Livingston, Samantha Kopeck, Sarah Hudson, Chanel Young, Shannon Conti, Rachel Owen, Tyler Lee, Tamara Tondreau, Catherine Flores, Roy Gantz. Now that's what I call a powerhouse lineup. Are you all ready to get started? I can't hear you. Are you all ready for the Grammy Go Conference? Introducing our very own Senior Director of Grammy Go, Jesse Allen.
So first off, the big thank you, of course, is to Amazon Music. Please give it up for Amazon Music. So Amazon is our presenting partner for this. They're also a cornerstone partner of Grammy Go, meaning they are an annual partner for us all year. They've been such incredible collaborators. I hope you all checked out the Amazon Music playlist listening station downstairs and are listening also at home at our Grammy Go mixtape. I also want to thank MasterCard, who is another one of our amazing, they're a participating sponsor today and another cornerstone partner, so please give it up for MasterCard. Of course, you all saw the reps in their amazing video here to kick it off. They are the heart and soul of Grammy Go. They work so hard to represent you all year. Thank you to the reps, our Grammy Go staff, Kristen Baum, our membership manager, Cameron Mangione at home, and Kat Storn-Mayora, who was our production manager for this and gave so much of her life to make this so special for you. So I do need to hear you give it up for them, please. All right, we're getting through the thank yous and getting ready to start the party, okay? So I also need to thank Daniel Mendoza, who is producing our live stream. So everyone at home, you can thank Daniel for the reason that you are watching this today in your house on a Saturday. Thank you, Daniel Mendoza. We love that we're able to showcase this all across the world. And so even if you can't make it to New York City, you're participating in this community and watching at home. And for anyone who is not a member of Grammy Go watching at home, we hope that you join GrammyGo.com and come be with us next year. I also want to thank Adam and Rose and DeMarco from our partnerships team. The whole team, but they specifically worked so hard on this. I think Rose Polidoro on the team called all of Broadway herself to get this to happen today. So thank you, Rose. I need to thank our New York chapter and Nick Cucci and his whole team for hosting us, for letting us work out of their office all day, for helping us produce our showcase last night. Thank you. Speaking of our showcase, thank you to everyone who was there last night, and especially to Infinity Song, who closed out the night. What an incredible show. If you were there, you know the magic that went down, and if you weren't, then you weren't. But we had Grammy Go contest winners performing all night. It was a night to behold, and if you're an artist and you ever want to do something like that, we hope that you submit to our next contest. Thank you, Ryan Butler and the DEI team for supporting us through this whole initiative. We really appreciate you. And there are so many people at the Academy to thank that I'll be here all day, but you all know who you are. We could not make this happen without you. Thank you to all of our departments, all of our colleagues who believe in Grammy Go and really believe in our mission. Our talent today is pretty amazing. They have all also given their time today for this mission and for you. I think something really special about Grammy Go is the people who participate in this program are doing it for a reason. They're doing it to teach you, to be with you, to help guide you. And you'll feel that all day in the conversations, in the energy, and just really see how sincere it is that they want to be here for you. So thank you to our talent. We really appreciate it. And of course, the Time Center, what a beautiful venue in New York City, and all the vendors, everyone participating. We're just overwhelmed with gratitude for everyone that made this happen. So I know you're all ready to get the party started. Let us get this going with another amazing person, the person I have to thank the most, which is my boss, the Chief Awards and Industry Officer at the Recording Academy, Ruby Marchand.
Thank you, Jesse. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Who's not from New York? Who's here? Who flew in? Look at all those hands go up. How many of you are here in New York for the first time? Still hands. This event has drawn people from all over the country, in some cases from all over the world. Thank you for being here. This is a unique event. I can tell you as a New Yorker, born in the Bronx, that thank you for the Bronx cheer, to be able to put an event together like this, celebrating extraordinary artistry, celebrating the creative spirit of New York through the lens of Grammy U, is unprecedented. And we are so proud to be here to present this day to you. This is the kind of day that can change your life. No kidding. You know, sometimes it's just a comment. Sometimes it's just this sudden epiphany, like, wow, that spoke to me. But that's the power of a day like this. And I just want to thank all of you for being here, of course, but also I want to talk about our community in New York, the Recording Academy's community in New York. We have a New York chapter that might surprise you. It includes a lot more than New York. It includes parts of New Jersey, Boston, all of New England, Toronto. It even includes big chunks of Europe. Imagine that. So that is a community that's vibrant. It includes genres from really almost every possible spectrum of the musical universe. And it includes people who are behind the scenes. We're going to hear a lot today about people who are behind the scenes, because the amazing industry that we're in and that you all hope to be a part of includes amazing careers that are not always on the stage. They're not always in front of the camera. Sometimes there are amazing strategic and visionary roles that might go unseen, but not here today. Here today for you, for Grammy U, we're going to be focusing on that entire kind of a cross-section of what it is to be a creator in New York, and specifically through the lens of performance, live theater. We're going to be able to take a look at that. And I want to first acknowledge our New York chapter people. Nick Cucci, our executive director. Thank you so much, Nick. Thank you. His amazing staff, as well as many of the Academy staff are here today. Jesse mentioned some of them. There are others. I'm looking at John Loken right now, our Executive VP of Marketing. Thank you. And Ryan Butler is here, our VP of DEI. Thank you. There are many other people who are here. The reason that we're all here is because it's really simple. We care. That's why we're here. We're here because we believe in you, because you are the future of music. And everything that this Academy does is dedicated to giving you the confidence, to helping you understand how to grow and sustain your careers, how to connect. You know, I say this all the time to people. You're already forming the relationships today that may sustain you for the rest of your careers, for decades to come. There's no special button that gets pressed when you might graduate from school or reach a certain age, or suddenly find yourself on tour. It all starts now. It starts with every conversation, with every extension of curiosity, of trust. All of that is how we build the network, the relationships, the community, the family that unites us in the world of music. And that is what our Recording Academy is built on. So we are here to salute you as the future of music. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Grammy U has grown, really, I would say almost exploded in a really beautiful way under Jesse's amazing leadership. as well as Kat and Kristen, who she has acknowledged, and our reps, who are doing an absolutely amazing job. Can we please give it up for the reps as well? Thank you. But I do have a wonderful announcement. Maybe some of you are aware because you know things before I do sometimes, and I'm the Chief Awards and Industry Officer. So let me just say that we have launched a very unique platform, a brand new platform this week called Grammy Go. How many of you have heard of Grammy Go yet? All right, a lot of hands are going up. That's great. Well, Jonathan, our VP, is here. You will be hearing from him later. So Grammy Go is the very first creator-to-creator learning platform that the Academy has ever created. And the first 2 courses have just been launched. And we have a marketing executive, Joey Harris. We have a music producer, Carolyn Malachi. And we have cameos from some Academy members who are very well known to you: Victoria Monet, Janelle Monáe, Jimmy Jam, Hit Boy. We have an amazing selection, plus our own CEO, the very own Harvey Mason Jr., who's also part of that. We have an amazing curation of people from our membership who want to give back and also share what has guided them. What are those little nuggets of wisdom that they can pass along? And only through Grammy Go are you going to be able to get that. So please check it out. There's a QR code in the programs that you all have. And let's spread the word about Grammy Go, because this is a new way for us to connect and to learn from each other. So thank you. So I'm going to close up my little remarks here just by saying I'm born and bred in the Bronx. Went to Oberlin College. Anyone here go to Oberlin by any chance? I don't know. Studied at a conservatory. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that I would end up in a position where I oversee the Grammy Awards, I oversee membership, I work with our songwriters and composers wing, our producers and engineers wing, and of course with Jesse at Grammy U. This is what dreams are made of. You know, I grew up on a little street in the Bronx, and I really had no idea what was out there, but people believed in me, and I began to understand that we can truly make our dreams come true. So I just want that to resonate with you, because it's something that has inspired me my entire life, that we're here to support each other, to help each other. Sometimes there are challenges, and other times information comes our way. Be open. Just let that information come in and see how it changes you, because you follow your destiny that way. So I'm going to end my remarks now by saying that we are so fortunate to have Amazon Music as a cornerstone partner of Grammy U and as our presenting partner here for this amazing day. And it is my pleasure and honor to introduce to you one of the visionaries at Amazon Music, Andre Stapleton, who is the global head of artist and label relations for Amazon. So I'm going to bring on Andre. Thank you all so much. I will see you during the day.
Hey guys! Wow! Woo! Awesome to be here. It's actually really an honor to be in front of you guys. You're an inspiring group of people, and yeah, this is very exciting. And thanks for spending your Saturday doing this, whether you're watching online or you're here in the auditorium. So, like Ruby said, I work at Amazon Music, and we're delighted to partner with the Recording Academy and the Grammy U organization, because it's really important to us to connect the emerging music community. And I know that in this room today, there are some of the brightest minds of the next generation of leaders in the music business, whether you're an artist or a creative or a future industry professional. And so what we're trying to do at Amazon Music is provide tools and resources and opportunities to launch amazing careers that you guys can have in the music business. And for any of us that are in it, we know how cool that is and how important that is. So it feels really important, and it's a topic we're very passionate on. And for me personally, actually, for my own story, it's something I'm especially passionate about too. And the thing I kind of want to say to you guys is really to congratulate you on having identified both your passion and the resources to act on that passion, and most of you at a pretty young age. And that's something that means a lot to me, because I know how important that is. because when I started out in my career, as a young man back in London, way back at the dawn of time, at the dawn of man, it kind of like I wasted a lot of time. I didn't know what my path was, and then when I kind of started to navigate towards it, I'm telling you, there was definitely no events with Ben Platt and Billy Porter and Remi and that kind of stuff helping you find the way. I mean, what an unbelievable opportunity. And so it took me quite a while to kind of like figure out how to make that path. So I know how important a program like this is, and all I can say to you guys is congratulations for being here, and make sure you take full advantage of all the opportunities. So through the Cornerstone partnership that Ruby mentioned, we're going to be aiming to play an integral part with Grammy U to help basically deliver the next wave of leaders and change makers in the music business. And from the Amazon Music end of it, we're going to be doing a bunch of really exciting things, like we're going to be involving our team all across the company in mentorships that we'll offer up. There's scholarships on offer. There's visits to Amazon Music campuses. There's invitations to behind-the-scenes access at concerts and events. You guys can see it firsthand, see how how it all comes together. So really cool stuff. We're going to be doing this locally and nationally. So once again, I would just implore you guys to take full advantage. And again, congratulations on being at the starting line of what I think will be a wonderful career for all of you guys. So have an amazing experience. Thank you.
Woo! Thank you so much, Andre, Ruby. All right, it's time to get the show on the road. So, I'm really excited to kick off our first panel of the day, our keynote conversation with Ben Platt. I know, he's right there. He's listening to you. Our moderator for this conversation is an actor and a singer, and also happens to be Ben's best friend. In 2019, she earned a Golden Globe nomination for her role in Booksmart. She previously starred as Monica Lewinsky and was a producer on Ryan Murphy's critically acclaimed series, American Crime Story: Impeachment. She's appeared on Broadway in Funny Girl and in Bette Midler's Hello, Dolly. She's an outspoken writer and activist on topics like feminism, LGBTQ+ rights, and voter engagement. And recently, she just starred in Ethan Coen and Trisha Cook's movie Drive-Away Dolls. Please give it up for the incredible Beanie Feldstein!
Wow! Thank you. Hi, everybody. Hello. And hello to everybody watching online. I hear there's a live stream, so that's thrilling. So nice to see you all. Thank you for being here. I'm now going to read a very official thing about my best friend, which is kind of a funny thing to do. Our conversation today is particularly special as we delve into the vibrant world of Broadway and artist mastery. We are joined by an extraordinary talent and person, I might add, someone whose illustrious career on stage and screen encapsulates the essence of theatrical brilliance and artistic expression. Before we bring him to the stage, let me share a glimpse into his remarkable career, which I'm extremely proud of. Grammy, Tony, and Emmy winner, he recently graced the New York stage with his brilliant portrayal as Leo Frank in Parade, a performance that gained beautiful reviews and earned him a second Tony nomination. His versatility extends beyond the stage to the screen, where he captivated audiences in Theater Camp, a film which he co-wrote, produced, and starred in. An acclaimed recording artist, his multi-city Reverie tour sold out iconic venues like Madison Square Garden and the Hollywood Bowl. Excuse me while I turn my card. You may recognize him from his Tony-winning performance as Evan in Dear Evan Hansen, or his brilliant portrayal in The Politician on Netflix. His new album, Honey Mind, comes out this summer, and he currently has 2 singles out, and he will embark on a national tour beginning with an 18-date residency at the Palace Theater in New York City. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming the one and only Ben Platt.
Hey, what a nice intro.
Yeah. I read and I improvised, you know what I mean? It was a little of both. So we're very excited to be here today. As if you guys don't know, Ben and I met at a bat mitzvah is actually this story. We went to separate middle schools, and we were at Allie Nadel's bat mitzvah.
Shout out Allie Nadel.
Shout out Allie Nadel if you're watching on the live stream. And we started talking about theater and all of our favorite shows, and we didn't go into her bat mitzvah is kind of the story.
Yeah, we stayed out in the cocktail hour chatting, so she's still upset. Sorry, Allie.
Yeah, sorry, Allie. And then we never saw each other again because we didn't have cell phones. Guys, we're old. We didn't have cell phones, and then Ben joined my school in 9th grade, and we were like, oh my God, you're the kid from the bat mitzvah. And we had the same lunch period, and we became best friends pretty much on the spot. And that was 17 years ago, which is crazy. And it has been exceptional for me as your best friend to watch you build this pretty incredible career that we're going to get to talk about today. So I'm really happy to be here with you all, and let's do it.
Thanks, Bean.
So most of them, I know you in other ways. Most of you guys probably saw Ben for the first time, whether it was in Pitch Perfect or The Book of Mormon on Broadway or Evan Hansen on Broadway. So most people know you for your singing and specifically like theatrical, Broadway, that type of thing. Can you talk about what led you to love Broadway and love musical theater and what it felt like to achieve those dreams?
Of course. We both love Broadway. I grew up in a family that was very much, showbiz family and loved musical theater. And I grew up with my dad playing show tunes to us in the car. And, instead of the radio, we would listen to like Sondheim cast albums and, Gypsy and, Thoroughly Modern Millie. And I grew up doing like a youth program for musical theater along with my siblings. And, my whole family really loved it. And it was a great like shared language of something that we could really bond about. And I think for me, very quickly, it became clear that it ran quite deep in terms of like, I can be a sort of an introverted person in a lot of different places and have trouble sort of getting outside my mind and outside myself and connecting. And I think as a young person, when I would go and do musicals at like a youth program, Beanie grew up doing a youth program too, I think it was where I felt like the most free to be myself and like stretch my wings and be a little more outgoing and connect, and just it felt like the safest space. And so I just fell in love with it very quickly and stuck with it, and then started working professionally in theater when I was 9. I did a musical called The Music Man at the Hollywood Bowl when I was 9, which I was like screaming and crying, not wanting to audition for because I was very afraid. And then as soon as I walked into the room, I was like, oh, I like this. And sort of got bit by the bug immediately, and really just was pretty laser focused from that point until like our early 20s on just like that very particular dream of musical theater and getting the opportunity to originate a role and to get to do, as you said, Pitch Perfect and Book of Mormon, and that sort of leading me to the creative team of Dear Evan Hansen and getting to pursue that dream was a really wonderful and amazing journey that I didn't expect to happen quite so soon.
Beautiful. This is so funny because it's like I know all the answers, but you guys don't. It's like maybe I should say them for one question, what you would say, and we'll see if it's right.
Exactly, like the Newlywed Game?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Okay, perfect.
We would kill the
Newlywed Game.
So obviously you love musical theater. We worship at the altar of Sondheim and Gershwin and all of these people. And doing Evan Hansen, you recorded a cast album, which is part of why we're here today. And so you were used to being in the studio. I know, intimidating.
So large.
Sorry. You were used to being in the studio in that capacity. And can you talk to us like about, was there a moment that you remember where there kind of a switch went off of like, I have something else to say that's my own that I want to create? And did participating in cast albums and things like that lead you to that, or was it something else? Or can you talk to us about that moment where you felt like I have something else to say?
Absolutely. I think it's like sort of a combo. Like in terms of like emotionally, doing Evan Hansen was very grating and very intense, and it's a character that is a really kind of all-encompassing sort of thing. And as the show was coming out, it became quite a sort of cultural thing, and I became very deeply associated with that person. And while I do feel lots of connection to Evan, we're both quite anxious and we don't have good posture and things like that. Like I am quite a different person than him, and I think as I got to the end of my run, having developed it for many years and been involved with the character for a long, long time, I was just feeling this this real need and desire to get back in touch with like my own perspective and to express my own personality and my own views. And I felt that I'd been prioritizing just kind of putting that on the side to really dive into this other person. So it sort of coincided, that moment, with working on the Cast album, as you said, with Atlantic Records at the time. And they were the sort of the first ones to suggest, you know, what have you ever thought about doing something on your own, and would you want to start experimenting with songwriting and working with some co-writers and doing like a writing camp and seeing what that feels like. And I think that was like sort of exactly the right little push on the back at the right moment to try to just like see what it felt like to sing as myself, which is like a scary, different vibe, but has been a really beautiful channel of my career.
And also your music is so personal, as most singer-songwriters' music is, but I think for you, knowing you, I know how true and personal it is. And was it intimidating or kind of scary to not have that armor, as you said, of like another person that you're kind of hiding behind in a way? Like you're singing about Evan's journey or about Elder Cunningham's journey or whoever. You're not singing about your own life. What was it like to kind of sing your own story for the first time?
Definitely a frightening thing, I think, both in terms of just sharing yourself and putting yourself up for public display and critique without any protection of like, but I didn't write this, so like if you don't like it, it's not all me. But so it's like really putting yourself forward like that is a scary thing. And then I think on top of that, you know, both of us are actors, and we know that in this industry, like there's a lot of kind of emphasis put on like mystery and being like saving, like keeping yourself somewhat private so that people can imagine you in different characters. And like particularly as a queer person, you know, obviously if I'm going to share my experience in my songs and write about my relationships, there's going to be a lot of elements about that are about being queer, and that's just always been, you know, and there was never a moment where I was like, I'm going to take a stand and talk about my queerness, because like to talk about love and relationships for me, that's to talk about queerness. So I think for me, I certainly felt a bit of a fear of like, if I express this and I'm, you know, as forthright about this as I want to be, like, is that going to jeopardize people being able to see me in all different kinds of roles? And will I be able to stay, you know, cool and mysterious if I'm, you know, sharing so openly what I feel and what I do? But the gratification of connecting with your own experiences and seeing people really take them on and use the songs in their lives, and just like that is so infinitely beyond those kinds of worries. I think, at least for me, the reward of that. So once I kind of jumped off the cliff, it was like, it was a feeling I got excited to keep doing.
And what was the first song where you felt like, oh, this is my music? Because I remember the first song that you played for me, I think, was Better. Yeah. And I remember being like, where did this, you've been doing this all along? Like, where did this come from? And being so moved and so proud and so excited. But was Better the first song for you, or was there another song?
That's so sweet that you remember that. I remember playing it for you.
I remember you were like hiding. Like, I was sitting on the other side of the piano and you weren't looking at me, and you're like, I just did this thing. And I was like, this is amazing.
I don't like watching people listen to my music. I hate it. But that was the first song I sort of wrote alone, like in its entirety. But I think the first one where I really like hit the nail stylistically on the head and felt like, oh, okay, like I understand more so like what my particular lane is, both in terms of content and sound, was a song called Ease My Mind that's on my first album that I wrote with Ben Abraham, who's an incredibly talented songwriter in his own right and singer. But it was about sort of my experience with anxiety and the ways that having a relationship or love in any capacity can really like ease that and help make get you out of your own head and make you feel like more grounded. And I felt like this sort of cross-section of like the way that it sounded and the type of thing I was singing about, sort of something clicked, and I was like, this is kind of my zone, I think.
And we're so lucky to hear it. Do you have any advice? This is, I think, a very important question specifically for this group. Do you have any advice for aspiring artists that are looking to transition between kind of a more Broadway theatrical space into recording studio work in their own right?
That's a great question. Also, I feel bad that I'm sort of like closed off. Hi, everybody. Yes, I mean, I think the first thing for me, or that I would hope is sort of like a hurdle that we can all sort of stop pretending exists, is that like there's this huge difference between singing in a theatrical space and singing your own music. I feel like at the end of the day, pop music or you know, any sort of genre, particularly when you're being your own artist, like it's all theater. Like there's a theatricality, there's a storytelling, there is, you know, even if it's coming from a more organic and sort of less like literally narrative place, I think it's so much more connected than we in the sort of modern space necessarily view it as. Like back in the day, the people singing on Broadway were at the top of the charts, and those were the pop songs. And so it's like, I think that the more and more that we're intertwining and, you know, seeing people like Renee rap and just like getting those lines blurred, I think makes it easier to begin with. But I would say for me, the biggest lesson was, you know, as a singer by trade, I'm very focused often on, you know, vocal quality and the way that my voice sounds in a given record and how am I showcasing my ability as a vocalist. And I think in theater, that's such a big component when it comes to like modern pop singing. But I think when I started to really focus more on the songwriting and the story that I was telling and letting that be the star and be out front and just trust that, you know, because it was my own story and my own perspective, like I will naturally sing it the way that I want to or the way that feels most organic to me. That's when things started to really click for me. So I think as much as is possible to sort of, you know, trust in the vocal ability or the technique or the sound or the individuality that you have and focus as much of your kind of active attention as possible on just how to translate that perspective rather than that literal sound. I think that's where I found some success.
Focus on what you are trying to say versus
Yes.
like how you're saying it.
Exactly.
In that way, I think.
It's exactly.
Okay, great. And I had one other thing to ask you. Oh, it was going to be that obviously we both know that like theater training is so rigorous and being on Broadway is so rigorous. Do you feel like that has really grounded you and helped you in your touring capabilities? Because I can't imagine what it would be like for someone to like tour for the first time without a background of doing that night after night. So do you feel like that was extremely helpful to you having that background?
100%. I always think about that same thing of like artists that are super like vocal forward, not having had experience doing 8 shows a week. Like, how do you get yourself conditioned to tour and sing every other night? And I think definitely having the discipline of, you know, that we've both experienced of having to do it 8 times a week and wake up every morning and check your voice and warm up and eat a certain diet and hydrate a certain amount and take supplements and go to 12 ENTs and like just like always be in constant fear of your vocal health. Doesn't that sound fun? But I think definitely that crash course made it so that I knew how to get myself ready. Like I'm about to do this Palace residency and go on tour and like whenever
we're gonna get there, Benny. We're gonna get there.
But anytime, you know, I for a long time in my career, anytime I was about to get ready to start performing again, I would have like a couple weeks of panic of like, it's been so long and I don't remember how to do this and my body forgets how to be in shape. And it's like, eventually you do cultivate like a nice routine of, you know, when you're a certain amount of time out, like starting to weed back in some of the good, like healthy routines and getting yourself back in shape. And so I think definitely sort of set me up to know how to go about it. But I'm not necessarily an artist that can tour, like in terms of health, like passively. Like I think there are some artists who are musicians or, you know, like there's different types of music where it's a lot more about just the energy that you're bringing or like where you're at on that certain day. But because so much of what I do depends on singing, I think it's like, I definitely know anytime I'm touring, that's going to be a period of time where it's got to be the only focus.
Yeah. And to people that don't know you, do you want to talk through like some of the things that have really grounded you in that ability? Because I feel like if from the outside, if you didn't know, it would be like, what do you do to keep yourself in that shape and ability to tour every night?
Totally. Well, I take lots of supplements. I take
Walk us
wellness
through the
formula. I take vitamin D. I take bromelain. I can make a whole list and I'll put it online. I drink one of those obnoxious water bottles that has like, you can do it, you're almost there, like halfway through the day.
He does. He brings it to dinner.
I bring it around on tour. I bring it to the airport. My fiance Noah absolutely hates it and tries to throw it away whenever I leave it somewhere. But the number one and number two thing that are irreplaceable are water and sleep. Like there's no replacement for waking up without having gotten rest or for not being hydrated. Unfortunately, it's just like you got to figure out how to sleep and you got to drink water. Diet things, which Bean and I both are very careful about our eating when it comes to our health and vocal, etc. But I think that, like, for me personally, no acid, no dairy, no gluten, things that create like lots of mucus, just to get real about it, and just keeping your airways clean and clear. And then we both have worked in the past, and I continue to work with Liz Kaplan, who's an amazing voice teacher and kind of expert, who is very good at continuing to make sure that I understand that it's not, when you're prepping your voice, it's about prepping your whole body and making sure that your whole instrument is like head to toe. It's not just what's in your throat and in your chest. So I think making sure that you're feeling like connected and loose and sort of at one. Those are the main things.
Beautiful. So all of us are very excited that you have a third album coming out very soon. So I think we should talk a lot about that. Not even a little, just a lot.
Great.
So your new album sees you exploring a more understated kind of folk-leaning sound. What inspired this? I mean, I wouldn't say it's a huge shift. It's who you've always been. But what inspired you to kind of focus that in this third album, and how does it reflect your growth as an artist?
This is so funny. So I always have loved James Taylor, as we both know, and
And sang my first dance at my wedding, which was a James Taylor song. It's very beautiful.
That's true. I did. And thank you. So
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, so that whole kind of time period and sound, and Paul Simon and Simon and Garfunkel and Fleetwood Mac and Joni Mitchell and Carole King, just these very sort of Americana folk singer-songwriters that are very unadorned and like super storytelling forward. Not a lot of bells and whistles, I guess, would be like one of the through lines of that. I think has always been like a major source of inspiration, and I think as I started writing on this album and started doing like initial sessions, I think it just really felt like a really nice stylistic match for where I was at, like emotionally, and the types of things that I was writing about, which is a lot about Noah and my relationship and our love that we share, and also about just like this kind of trap between youth and adulthood thing, and still trying to figure out like the balance of maturity, etc. Just very naturally, as we started to write, and I worked with a lot of co-writers who are in Nashville, who a lot of them exist very much in this stylistic space, just felt like the most natural sound for this kind of content. And then I got kind of doubly inspired as we started writing by the crossroads of that type of music and like a queer perspective. Like I don't necessarily think there's been a ton of examples, at least for me growing up, of like this type of introspective, sort of a little bit more soft-hearted type of music and romantic music from a very expressly lyrically queer perspective. And so I really got excited by that like juxtaposition.
Intersection, too.
Intersection,
yeah,
yes,
intersection.
yes.
Was there a moment in the creation of the album where you felt like, oh, this is what it is? Like kind of what I was saying about your first ever time songwriting with your first music, but with this album specifically with Honey Mine, like was there a moment or was there a specific collaborator or a song where you were like, this is the album, this is what we're doing, let's keep going from here?
Yes, totally. I had a work session for a week with one of my favorite collaborators. Their name is Alex Hope. They're an amazing queer songwriter. We wrote Grow As We Go together on my other album, and we wrote I Want to Love You But I Don't together, which is for my second album. And I've just always loved them, and we've had great one-off song sessions through the years, but this was the first time that we kind of hunkered down and wrote for like an extended period of time. And they have 5 songs on the record that we wrote, just the two of us, and I think they're also queer, and they were as inspired as I was by that combo of like this sonic world and like very sort of classic like American images and sounds mixed with that queer perspective. And so when we started writing, we wrote All American Queen and Andrew, which was my first single. And both of those, I think once I started to hear what those were and like feel like this very specific combo was being realized, that's when I was like, I see where we're gonna build the rest out from. Like that was sort of the core at the middle of the apple.
Very exciting. As you prepare to share the rest of the Honey Mine album with us, what emotions or themes do you hope the audience takes away? I know you don't like people watching you play new music, but you are about to go on tour, so you're going to have to get over that.
It's okay if I'm singing it. It's more when you sit in a room and you play it and you're just like watching them like, what do you think?
I understand. The liveness of it makes it easier for you, which
Yeah.
is such an interesting thing about you. You're so comfortable on stage in a way that has always been and always will be, and it's very beautiful. But is there something that when we're all listening to the album for the first time, whether it's at the Palace, on your tour, in our houses, in our ears, that you want people to take away from it? Other than, of course, that kind of juxtaposition of what you're saying, like is there a feeling or a energy or a commitment or something that you feel like you want us to take away?
You know, I never want to dictate like the experience, because I often find that like people connect to it in ways that I don't ever premeditate or like expect, or like I think it's going to be one thing and it's always another. I would hope different people in different ways. Overall, I guess I want it to feel warm and cozy and kind, and it's definitely not like an aggressive or abrasive type of album. I think it's something that's hopefully a little bit soothing, and if people are in relationships or have partners, I think there'll be certain things that they'll certainly glean or maybe hopefully feel their experience reflected, or some of the things that they're thinking about, and the growth that they're experiencing as a person having a partner that they'll experience. And even for people who don't, there's a lot of themes that I hope resonate in terms of like people who are still trying to find the things from their youth that they want to maintain, and the sort of wonderment and recklessness and levity that they don't want to let go of, but also wanting to step into like a more mature, responsible adulthood. But I think there's no wrong answer. I think as long as it feels either connective or makes you feel good, or
Soothing is great. Soothing is such a beautiful thing. It's like
totally. We all need to be soothed, I think.
yeah,
At the
and I
moment.
think a lot of what the album's about is how much Noah soothes your mind, which is where the title came from, which we should talk about. But if you can bring that feeling outwards through your music, that's really beautiful.
Thanks, man.
So talk to us about how you came up with the title.
So the album's called Honey Mind. I was on a hike with Noah, my fiance, and we had partaken in some chocolate. And we were walking in this really beautiful place called Mohonk Mountain that's upstate, and I was feeling very happy and very giddy, and because of Noah. And and he was asking me to describe to him just like what's making you so happy. And also, I'm, again, a pretty anxious person, and I spend a lot of time in my head, and he was noticing that I was really not succumbing to that, and that I was feeling very present. And he was like, what is it? And I started to get very mushy and talk about my love for him and how happy that he makes me, and started to think about, you know, my brain and what the inside of my brain might look like, as one does when they're hiking and taking chocolate. And I started thinking about, like, you know, when things are stressful or anxiety provoking, or, you know, get in your way in some capacity, like, I just imagine all these kind of jagged things kind of jutting out in your mind and getting in each other's way, and sort of making it a bit of a busy, kind of sharp environment. And I thought about how when you're in love, or when you have someone that you feel like really, you know, brings you into yourself, it doesn't make those things go away or like disappear or change their shape. It just like covers them in something a little bit sweeter and smoother, and like coats the whole thing and makes it a little easier to take. And so I had this just image of something really sweet and golden kind of covering everything. And, you know, Noah was like honey. And I said, yeah, exactly. You give me honey mind, essentially. And so I wrote a song called Honey Mind that I love, and that's going to be on the album. And then when it was time to pick the title, it just felt like it encapsulated kind of the whole energy.
So sweet. I love it.
Don't do drugs.
That's the lesson. That's what we came here to talk to you about today. Okay, so we have to talk about the Palace, because you're about to do 18 shows at the Palace, end of May, beginning of June, and end of May or early June, some might say. You get it. And
The internet audience loved that.
you're welcome. So talk to us about going into that iconic venue and what we can expect, or what your kind of your take on that venue is, because it's a pretty huge deal, and a lot of life-changing, iconic performers have performed there. And I want to know about, because I'm curious, because this part I don't actually know what to expect from that performance, but also given who else has performed there. I know in some of like the teasers you put out a clip of Judy Garland performing there. Has the history of the venue kind of impacted your take on it, and is there someone that you walk on the same stage of that you're thinking about when you walk out there?
Totally. Excellent question. I think that the list of people that have performed at the Palace is a really daunting, scary thing to read. And obviously, Judy Garland has been a love of mine for my whole life. I used to dress up like Dorothy a lot as a child, and I loved The Wizard of Oz.
I went to preschool as Dorothy for many months.
That's true. I had like a blue jumper that was gingham. Anyway, I've always loved her and really identified with her, and she's been an idol of mine. And so naturally, that's sort of the name that jumped out to me the most. So in terms of the actual set list, which I'll talk about, like she's the one who is influencing it a little bit. But I think when I looked at the list, it's like Judy and Liza and Diana Ross and Bette Midler, who Beanie knows well, and Harry Belafonte, and just all of these incredible artists. But the thing that I think really unites them, as I was looking at it, is that they have nothing to do with each other. That like they're all so intensely individual and unique, and like that was the thing that allowed them to do something like this. And so I think the history of it has inspired me to just really focus and invest in like what is my version of this, and if I'm doing an evening of performing and singing, what do I want to sing and what do I want it to feel like, and not necessarily like what should it be or what is the perception of something going into this theater, but rather what will a Ben Platt show be that not like a Judy wouldn't be. No, I mean hopefully not too many things because I'd like it to be just like Judy, but so yes, I think I certainly feel.
Not to just quote you back to yourself, but when you won your Tony Award, I was there that night in the audience, and the end. Yes, please, yes. And I remember just briefly looking around the room and thinking, wow, everyone's looking at Ben the way I've always looked at him, which is like a moment I'll treasure forever. But the end of your speech, you said the things that, I don't want to misquote it, the things that make you weird, strange, are the things that make you magical, wonderful, powerful. Okay, I was so close.
Same vibe.
But that's basically what you're saying. It's like you
Exactly.
have to lean into what makes you as Ben you, and you can't, no offense, you can't be Bette Midler. You can't be Judy Garland.
None of us can.
None of us can, not even close. So you have to lean into what you are doing with Honey Mind and all of your music and like really bring that forward.
Exactly, that's exactly it. And I think in terms of the set list, which I want to answer because you asked me what to expect and what the vibe is, it's certainly coinciding with the release of Honey Mind. So the kind of crux and center of the show is this new album and getting to sing it for the first time and share a good amount of it. But because it's like a bit of a larger kind of moment where I'm bringing together this world of theater with this like songwriting space, I'm certainly going to sing some stuff from my other records, a couple of musical theater covers, a couple of moments for Judy and Liza. So it'll be a nice little amalgam of all the things that have sort of led me to this point.
It's very exciting. It's an amazing thing.
It's cuckoo.
It's cuckoo. It's cuckoo from all sides. So quickly, okay, I think actually it's time for audience questions.
Oh, great.
We didn't you talked a little bit about Alex and Natalie and your collaborators, but
Totally.
is there anything else I realize that I'm sort of
yes.
skipping that portion.
No, we got it in there very naturally.
Okay, beautiful.
But I would just add that Dave Cobb is an amazing executive producer who would produce the whole album, and I got to go and record it at his little compound in Savannah with his musicians, and really brilliant organic Americana guy who helped me like keep the album as like authentic and live sounding as possible. And he's, besides Alex, the most major consistent collaborator on the album.
And for people in the audience that might want to do more like what he does versus what you do, was there a moment something that he said to you or a moment in the recording of it that sticks out to you that you want to tell us all about?
Yes, two things. He when I first got there, his house is set up so that it's like sort of secretly a studio in the sense that there's like a really nice living room and there happens to be a nice setup to record a guitar in there, and there's a pretty library which is also kind of proofed as a drum room, and it makes you feel as though you can just be hanging and playing music and it can get captured when it needs to be, as opposed to like time to hunker down and like do something that is business oriented. And I think that the casual nature of the environment he created helped the songs feel super natural and super just communicative. And then I think he is a big proponent of a hero live take. So almost every record on the album is one take played all the way through. And obviously we have modern technology so we can go back in and fix individual notes. And if there was like a guitar part that wants to be played over it, and you can zhuzh it. But I think I really feel the difference when the emphasis is on let's figure out how we play this in this room as a band together and make music and have that be at the center, and then we can always shape and zhuzh around that. But I think it's hard to recreate that, and so I really appreciate that was his kind of style. And then the last thing is just that we spent the first day, as soon as I arrived, he was like, come stand on the dock and we're gonna hang out with all the guys and drink tequila at 11 a.m. and get to know each other. And I was like, we have like 4 or 5 days to do this. Like, why are we I honestly came in quite skeptical, and I was like, oh, this is going to be very like woohoo, and like we don't want to get down to business. But the breaking that wall of comfortability and getting to know each other as people made it so much easier to make really great music and feel comfortable sharing like all these very
He was making you into a unit,
exactly.
Which is like very important when you're collaborating.
He was honestly camp counseling in a really amazing way.
We love that. Okay, so now we're going to take some questions from you guys, which is very exciting. So if you have a question for Ben, raise your hand, and I think we have a microphone that it's going to be passed around. You were the first one I saw, so can we bring, if there is one, or I can just hand mine over to you. I'm just going to hand mine to you. Or you can just project.
Hi.
Tell us your name. Hi, Steph. So this is Steph, and she asked us about Merrily We Roll Along, if you couldn't hear her, which is a movie that Ben and I are making together. You have to wait 16 to 17 years to watch it. So you'll all be in a very different moment in your life, and as will we when you watch it. But for those that don't know, Merrily is a Sondheim musical that is about friendship, and it is told from the end of a friendship back in time to the beginning of a friendship over the course of about 18 years. And you asked about us recording it. We can say a teeny tiny bit about it, which is that we only record in the year that we're working on. So you don't, our voices will sound as they are presently, and then if they change over time, that will be captured because we record each song in the year that we're filming it.
Exactly. Richard Linklater, the director, his sort of biggest focus, he did Boyhood, which was a similar structure where they filmed it over many years, and the idea is sort of little snapshots over time and to really capture where we're at that moment. So we just spend that one little parcel of time every couple of years recording whatever song is happening that year and then filming it shortly thereafter and then just kind of leaving it behind as opposed to looking at it as like one giant project. We sort of treat it as like little musical short films over the course of our life.
Essentially. And you also asked about stamina, which I think you touched on a little, but is there something else you have to say about like the stamina of being on tour?
I mean, I think other than what I've said already, which is the boring list of things to keep yourself healthy, I think like the biggest other lesson that I had to learn is that like adrenaline can also be a really harmful thing because it can make you push and sing in ways that are unhealthy and make you do things that you don't really need to do just because you get so excited and you want to give that extra mile. But I think when I really lean back and trust in my preparation and in rehearsal and in technique and just knowing exactly the sounds that I'm intending to make, that's when things stay really sustainable and really healthy. Not to say you shouldn't embrace adrenaline and make it an exciting show, but just try to keep that tension and excitement out of your instrument.
Basically, you need honey mind when you're on.
Yeah, exactly.
I understand.
Just pour honey on your head.
Anyone else have a question for Ben? Right there in the really cool, colorful jacket. It's very cool.
Thank you. What advice would you give on, kind of jumping into that phase first without any predecessors that are too well known?
That's an amazing question. First of all, I'm really excited to hear your music.
Thank you.
And I would say one of my favorite things to say that my fiance loves to say is that specificity begets universality. So I think that anytime you go into something hoping to broaden your audience or make it connectable to other people that aren't necessarily having the exact same experience as you, and so you either iron things out or leave out details or make things a little more general, I find that makes it even harder to connect. I think when something is like, not to invoke Taylor Swift, but I think one of the many reasons why she sort of has this big cultural takeover is that she is so incredibly specific with her experiences to the point where we feel like we know them. So, obviously I'm not necessarily writing about exes in the same way, but I think, that speaks to, regardless of what your experience is in terms of like the circumstances of your life or the fact that, where your heritage is or the fact that you're queer or whatever it might be, I think something feels real and specific, then it feels universal because there's nothing universal about something that's synthetic or that's fabricated or that's smoothed out. So I think, I definitely was afraid at first, as you said, to just like jump in head first and sort of be that forthright about my queerness. Like when I first put out that song "Ease My Mind" that I mentioned and made a video of a companion music video, I depicted a gay relationship, and it was me and this great actor Charlie Carver, and I didn't really think about it before, when we were making it, before releasing it as like this big moment that I was like coming out and like being gay, whatever. It was like everyone's known that I was gay since I was 8, but but it was just the circumstances I was writing about, and that's the relationship I was writing about. And so I was like, how am I going to show what that felt like? I'm going to recreate it as authentically as I can. And then when I released it, and it was sort of seen as this like coming out sort of moment, you know, I was very surprised because I didn't think that that was something we needed to really do anymore, and I'm hoping we're getting to the point where that's like not really the vibe, and we just sort of express our stories, whatever they may be, and the specific sort of otherness of them is just what makes them like juicy and interesting.
Does anyone else have a question? I saw you right here with the fun collar situation.
Hi. Hello. So before I ask my question, I just want to say I grew up with like the Dear Evan Hansen like soundtrack. I went to a performing arts high school, so that was playing rampantly like all throughout the hallways all day long. No, I loved it. I was like, oh my god, this is so great. No, but my main question for you is, I'm an artist myself. I do a lot of shows in New Jersey and New York, and I find myself like having trouble figuring out like what to even eat on show days. Like, I sometimes like have the really bad habit of like not eating anything or like just eating breakfast, and I know because I can't eat dairy and like I don't want to build up any mucus. So I just want to know more about like your diet, especially like if you have like 8 shows a week, like what are you even eating?
We love
Such
this
a good question.
It's a very important question because your body fuels your voice, and your voice is what's being given to the world. So
exactly. I think for me, I sometimes have the same instinct because I'm like, I don't want to be bloated and I get nervous. And so I'm like, if I eat something, am I going to feel like, you know, too encumbered? But just as a singer, like there's no way for me to sing healthily and consistently and do like 17, 18 songs without protein and without fuel. So I try to eat breakfast, as you said. I try to eat something that's like high protein and like a good carb in there, like whether it's like a potato or like a piece of toast or just something for like some good energy. And then I eat like, say the show's at like 8 or something, I try to eat like far enough away that I'm not like feeling that digestion absolutely booming during the show, but it's close enough that I'm still able to get the fuel from it. So like 4 or 5 o'clock or something, I'll eat like, again, a similar type of meal, like high protein, so like a bowl with some rice and chicken and veggies, just like good, well-balanced, nothing that's like super, you know, fried or heavy, just so that I don't necessarily feel too like I'm, you know, carrying too much with me. But I think fuel over feeling like, you know, because I so understand the instinct of like, I'm going to perform later. Like it's like when you go on streaming and there's like so many options and you're like, I'm just going to watch like, you know, Sex and the City again. Because you're like, I don't, it's like there's two, like I sometimes feel that way. I'm like, I don't know what the right thing is for my body chemistry that is not going to mess myself up. So like, why don't I just not do anything? But I think if you can find, I'm a huge believer in routine and repetition, even though sometimes it gets really boring. So if you can find like a place that makes a bowl that really works for you and jives with your body chemistry, or like a really protein-filled salad, or like a good plate of like, you know, chicken and some veggies, whatever it might be, and it works for you, like I'm a big proponent of like just do it every time, because like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Essentially,
you will catch us eating the same thing every day for 6 months, literally when we're performing. One thing our voice teacher said, just to piggyback on it, is that like she will not let us have a lesson with her if it's in the morning, if we haven't eaten. And sometimes she would like stop and be like, I'm gonna wait for you to eat something, because she says it's like the fire that like warms up your whole body. Like if you're not eating, you're not literally creating like energy and warmth within your body, and then you can't sing. So
totally, and it's just literally a muscle. Like it's like, if it's like, how do you play a game of basketball without any food in your system? Like,
think about how much athletes eat. It's like that's part of it. Anyway, you over there.
Thank you.
Hi, Kwame. We're running, yes.
Hi, my name's Kwame, and I have a question for the both of you. I wanted to ask about like the power of friendship in this industry. I'm here with my best friend, Malika. She's easing my mind today at this event, but next week I'll be at her play reading, easing hers. So I want to know, are there any special moments where you two have supported each other and realized I couldn't do it without anybody else but your best friend?
Literally crying, Kwame. So sweet. That question was on here, but it was asked in a way as if I didn't know myself. It was like, how do you see friendship? And I was like, I can't ask it, so thank you. I mean, literally, I've called Ben Bubba our entire friendship, and then when I got together with my now wife, I started calling her Bubba, so we were like, what do we do? And so now it's like boy Bubba and girl Bubba. But we're like, we always say we were like separated at birth, like we're twins. So I truly don't know if I could do most of what I do without your support, and I hope you feel the same way. But I think that friendship is such an important part of life, and you clearly have that so beautifully. And I think sometimes this career can be isolating, and you can get in your own head. And obviously we now both are married or getting married and have beautiful partners that we love, but there's still something that like a lifelong friend can give you that is very unique and very special. And we were there through like getting roles together in high school, and Ben still me not getting roles together in high school, and we've been through it all together. And I think that you have to nurture that and give it so much like love and attention, because as much as I love my wife and as much as Ben loves Noah, it's like there's something that we have that they can't replace or they can't take up. And in all of the highs, but even more in the lows of like when something's gone wrong, knowing that that person's always gonna like knock on your door and show up.
Love you.
Love you.
I would just add that, it's very easy to support your friends when they're great artists like Beanie, and it's very easy to believe in work that's actually wonderful, that like the work that Beanie does in many different facets. But I think something I've learned, we have a lot of friends that are artists, and I think in a lot of different ways, both mutual friends that we share, we have different friends that are artists, just by virtue of the fact that we meet a lot of creative people, and that's the people that are in your life. And I think as I've gotten older and learned about the way to be a real friend and support a friend of mine who's making art and is an artist, I think, there has to come a certain point where you just invest and believe in them. And I don't think it's about being a yes man and just saying that everything they do is brilliant. And if it's a real friendship, you have to be able to offer real criticism and give your opinion. And I always want notes and thoughts from my real friends. But I think it has to always come from a place of like, at your core, like, and what you're trying to say and your value as an artist, I really believe in you, and I think what you're doing is beautiful, and I want to help you because I think it can be better and be great. And if it's ever coming from a place of like, I don't think you really are, I don't believe in you as an artist from the get, I don't think it's sustainable in a friendship. I think it's got to always be from just a decided kind of foundational space of like, I see who you are and what you're trying to do and what your ability is, and like, I'm happy to help make it better, but ultimately I just want you to realize what you want to realize. And it also helps when it comes to like reception and public perception and people tweeting mean things and external validation and lots of things that are given a lot too much weight. I think it's impossible to be an artist that has any kind of public-facing anything without having real friends in your corner who can really call you on your shit and tell you like when you do need to be criticized and pulled back, and also can tell you when that's not the case and you need to listen to your own heart, and you can value the way that you treat them and the way that your relationship impacts your life much more than faceless people on the internet, even if sometimes they're nice.
Thank you for that beautiful question. I think we're out of time, and I think we have to go on a short break, but we want to thank you so much for being here and listening to Ben's beautiful answers, and I love you, and this was so fun.
Thank you, Beanie.
Thanks. Should we take my little notes? Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
This is gonna be a quick one. Don't be running to my door. Don't be asking me for more. It's alright if you're not sure. I can't waste my time no more. And you know we are not the same. Caught between passion and who's to blame. But this is just all disarray to you. 'Cause all I ever wanted is everything you're running from. Everything I am is something you can never overcome. Something you can never overcome. 'Cause all I ever wanted is everything you're running from. Yeah. I can't find a reason to stay numb. Yeah. Isn't it nice? Throwing around your advice and thinking everybody wants to know what you think. Yeah, but I'm getting up and I'm seeking some new. 'Cause people only listen 'cause they don't know what you do. I said people
Catching the red eye to see you tonight. Can't say goodbye after just one fight. I don't know if tomorrow is promised, but if I didn't say I love you, I wouldn't be honest. Life is too short to go a day without you next to me. Today is a gift, tomorrow isn't guaranteed. I need you to hold me, to kiss me slowly. Each minute that goes by is another day lonely. Doubt's getting louder, it's killing me every hour. What else can I do? I just wanna be with you, with you. Life is too short to go a day without you next to me. I need you right now, but what if it's not guaranteed? I need you to hold me, to kiss me slowly. Each minute that goes by is another day lonely. Can't say that anymore. When we were together, I destroyed the chance to ever be something more. Life is too short to go a day without you next to me. Today is a gift, tomorrow isn't guaranteed. Life is too short to go a day without you next to me. I need you right now, but what if it's not guaranteed? I need you to hold me, to kiss me slowly, but each minute that goes by is another day lonely. Taste, what a way to make a first impression, baby, baby, babe. You know you can't just get away with making me feel these things and disappearing. Ooh, oh, you know what to do and I'm coming through. Better quit playing all those games you do. Step by step, let's take it 1 to 2, 2 to you. I'll teach you. You don't gotta complicate the mood. All you've gotta do is smooth. Brave is better, babe. Don't be a fool. Brave is better. Brave is better. Brave is better. Yeah. Give me just a little bit more, baby. Don't be shy. You're all I've got tonight. Kind of self-disguise. Well, I know what you want inside. I know what you really like. Ooh, oh, you know what to do and I'm coming through. Better quit playing all those games you do. Step by step, let's take it 1 to 2, 2 to you.
Hi, everybody. It's your girl, Bree, and we're here at the Grammy U conference. I'm here with...
Hey, y'all. My name is Rose and Ice.
And we're going to just talk a little bit about Rose and Ice's experience in the music industry and what led her to Grammy U. So first, tell me how you got a part of Grammy U and what your experience has been like so far.
Yeah, thanks for asking. So I found out... Oh, you want me to take it? Oh, I feel so official. You're not getting it back. No, I'm just kidding. So I found Grammy U actually through another member. I was on a music streaming app that's meant for musicians to meet other musicians and then find fan bases. Unfortunately, the app isn't around anymore, but the connections were for life. One of the people, Nada, shout out Nada, who was a Grammy U member based out of Cali, told me about it. He knew I was a full-time student and was just promoting and telling me about what you guys did and what Grammy U did. I went online and I filled out the application, and I have so many emails. I'm so glad that I just typed in Grammys, because in August of 2022, as I entered my master's program, I saw an acceptance email, and I just started freaking out. It was just as simple as submitting the form, showing them the work I've done, my music, how I'm active in the industry, where I go to school, and from there it's been a wild ride.
Alrighty. And as far as your industry experience, can you tell us a little bit about what you do? Are you strictly an artist? Do you dance while you perform? Are you a live performer? Or you like to record more? Give us a little bit of like what that looks like for you.
Yeah, of course. That's also a great question. So I am a singer. I'm a singer-songwriter. I grew up doing musical theater, so that's why it's so cool to be here. Yeah. And you know, some of the things that they're saying today, like when you transfer from musical theater to the inside the studio, it's a shift. But again, it is a performance at all times. You always want to look your best. You always want to sound your best. So I do sing. I own my own record label. Yeah, I opened it in 2020, May of 2020, right as the pandemic started. I realized I had been spending so much money and investing in my career, but I can't show that to anybody. I couldn't get grants. I couldn't get PPP loans because I had been spending money without getting the return because it was a passion. And that's when I started learning in the business side and putting my money where my music is and my mouth. So that's me. I have 13 songs out. My initial EP is called Rose and Nice to Meet You.
Okay, I like that.
Because that's what people say when they see me. They're like, oh, it's so nice to meet you. And it was just like that. That's what I want people to see when I wanted them to get this introduction to my music. So singer-songwriter, based out of Philly.
All right, okay,
yeah,
Philly.
Okay.
And just to touch a little bit more on that performance aspect of it, so you previously mentioned that you went to the Grammys this year. What was your favorite performance? And who do you kind of look up to within the Recording Academy right now?
Okay, favorite performance this year at the Grammys? You know, it's crazy too, because like when you know all the action is going on inside and you're like watching this screen and you're like, I can't wait to sit down with them. Everything goes crazy. Like, I'm trying to think what the best performance was this year. Like, there were so many tribute performances too. Oh my gosh. I just think the whole show this year was so special, including the fact that Beyonce was there and had just, you know, like the preface for Cowboy Carter and like Texas Hold'em, like it was just like, it was so epic. It was just so cool. I mean, who do I look up to? Any person that is following their dreams. I got to just meet people that week who've been in the Academy, who are voting members, who were so willing to just sit there and tell me about their experience, and like people that you might not, you know, as they were saying, see on stage, the behind the scenes people. Oh my gosh, all of them. Every person that I talked to, if I talked to you during Grammy week, thank you. Yeah, it changed my life.
Yeah, just going off of that, what's not just a piece of advice that you can give to people who are starting out their careers in music and wanting to be kind of like, as they say, a multi-hyphenate. Like, you are into fashion, as I can tell. You have a great sense of style. You're a talker, so I'm assuming more on the influencer side as well. And you not only, you own your own record label, you perform, you produce, you songwrite, all of this stuff. So as someone who has so many ideas and a lot of creative inspiration, what is your advice to people who are in the same lane that can't really, you know, choose one path to stay on? Like, is there one straight path, or how do you kind of juggle everything?
Wow. That's a really impactful question, because I feel like so often society tries to box us in and be like, you have to be just a musician. And the amount of times that I've heard that and been told, you do too much. You're doing too much. You can't be, your press kit, you can't have a modeling press kit and a musician press kit and a production assistant press kit. You can't have all those. But because I am multifaceted, because I am not afraid to put on all black and work behind the scenes as a production assistant, I have IMDb credits. I have a page that shows that I've worked in the industry and I'm active and I'm willing to learn. And I think that some people, they do have one path. That's their story. Like, they know what they want to be and they get there just by one just straight line. My line has not been straight. Again, like, I've been a production assistant for movies, music festivals, music videos. I've been an assistant for real estate agents, live shows. Like, I model, I plus size model. I love that, okay? I was just in the Lehigh Valley Fashion Week, okay? Shout out to them. It's a great thing, and I think that when you aren't afraid to take opportunity, I think that's the difference. Opportunity doesn't get passed around every day, especially, and I talk about this all the time, in marginalized communities, lower income, people of color. Like, you don't get opportunity every day. So when you see it and you get it, you have to fight for it. You have to take that chance. And that was me going to LA. I didn't have a ticket into the Grammys. I only had tickets for Grammy Week for the masterclass. And so I pushed and pushed and pushed until I found somebody who was like, yeah, you could come for the first hour. I was like, thank you. Thank you. I'll remember this forever when I'm accepting my Grammy. You know, it's about taking the opportunity, not being scared, because the most you can get is a no. And that's the law of attraction. You just keep asking until you get a yes, and you'll get it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing with us about your experience and your opportunities so far. Thank you to Grammy U for having us, and we look forward to talking to y'all soon, okay? It's Bree and...
It's your girl, Rose and Ice.
Thank you.
I just can't look anymore from a distance. I feel like, I'm in love. Another one up, another one up. Hold up all your feelings for you put on a cup. Another one up, another one up. Sip on this air between us, savor it till you let me whisper my thoughts in your ear. One night show, baby, I'm the promise. So just hold another one up, another one up. Swallow down your desire for me, remember it when I'm gone. When I'm gone, 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 when I'm gone. Really, I don't know, like, baby, I don't know. May just end up feeling how I've always felt before. Really, I don't know, like, baby, I don't know. Got no time for healing, 'cause this rush my antidote. So I hold another one up, another one up. Hold up all your feelings for you put on a cup. Hold another one up, another one up. Smile down your desire for me, remember it when I'm gone. When I'm gone, 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 when I'm gone.
Thrown right into the unknown. Your face you don't even know. 3 days have gone by. 3 days no alibi. Talk through another phone call. Look right and stare at the wall. How long can this really last?
Liquid glass, it's made of fear. It fades idea. I think you see it all, but none of it's clear. Feeling frozen, but I still want to find some ice cold clarity, and I don't believe when you imply the ground beneath my feet, and I feel it always coming in the winter time, and I want you to tell me I'll be fine. Day by day I sit outside, feel the wind as it's running by. Hope it finds me another time to hold my fingers when I know they're mine. Oh, they're mine. Liquid glass, it's made of fear. It fades in features so you disappear. Liquid glass thinks it's a good idea. I think you see it all, but none of it's clear. The violet fears you feeling near to what endears
Welcome, Grammy U members, to Standing in the Spotlight with Billy Porter, a performance workshop. Our moderator is an award-winning radio personality and program director at SiriusXM. There, she curates all the music for the on-Broadway and Metropolitan Opera radio stations. She hosted her talk show, Broadway Names with Julia James, for over a decade. Please welcome to the stage, Julie James.
Welcome everyone. It's so great to be here today and to see all of you. I'm really excited about what is about to go down, but I want to thank Amazon Music for their support for the conference, and I want to introduce you to one of the most dynamic performers that I have ever had the pleasure of knowing. It is Grammy, Tony, and Emmy winner, Billy Porter. Yes. Billy has released solo music, but is also, of course, a veteran of the theater. He's a two-time Tony winner, first for Best Leading Actor in a Musical for Kinky Boots in 2013. And you may not know this, he also won Best Musical Tony Award as a producer for the incredible show A Strange Loop back in 2022. Yes. And of course, we're super proud of Billy because he is also a Grammy Award winner for the Kinky Boots original cast album in 2014. And this was an incredible moment when he took home the Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series in 2019 for his work as Pray Tell on the TV series Pose. And that was so wonderful because he made history as the first openly gay man to win that particular award. And if you haven't checked it out, I encourage you all to listen to his epic magnum opus record that's out now, The Black Mona Lisa. So without further ado, please give a warm welcome to multi-award winner and the absolutely fabulous Billy Porter. Indeed.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome, welcome. Yes, get comfortable in these fabulous...
These dry bones, girl.
Well, it's wonderful to be back with you today, and I can feel all the enthusiasm in the crowd for you, which is exciting. Now, you know, you have been in this business for a long time.
Longer than most of you have been alive.
Truth.
Just saying.
Over 30 years. And I have had the honor and pleasure of knowing you for a pretty good chunk of that, and it has been so rewarding to see what has unfolded for you. And you, of course, as we were just talking about, Broadway, TV, your original music. Now, how do you feel like you transform a song across all of these mediums? Like, what's similar and different about creating in all of these mediums?
What's interesting to me and what I'm grateful for the most is all of the multi-hyphenates that I have been blessed to have the talent to pursue. Also the presence of mind to understand that one serves the other. You know, I went to Carnegie Mellon for drama. I was in the acting program. So the gift is that every time I open up my mouth to sing, I'm telling a story. And I'm trying to connect with the audience that's sitting in front of me, or the audience that's watching me from their homes. You know, the biggest difference that I can say with being a theater performer, as well as a straight down the middle music industry performer, is that as a teacher, I find that my music industry babies sing a lot with their eyes closed. Everything with their eyes closed. Sorry, not for me. That's not for me at all. When I was in drama school, I had an amazing teacher, Billy Wilson. He's passed on, God rest his soul. He started in the ballet world as a ballet dancer, became a choreographer, then crossed over and became a director choreographer in Broadway shows, for Broadway shows. You know, and I got up to sing the first time, and I wasn't even singing with my eyes closed, but I got up to sing the first time. And he said, "So what?" Nobody ever said, "So what?" when I sang. I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Well, number one, you don't know what you're singing about, so I don't care. Number two, you sang most of that with your eyes closed, so it's masturbatory." What that reads as, when you sing with your eyes closed, is that you just enjoy the sound of your own voice so much that you just have to keep your eyes closed and listen to it. I mean, I know that's not the case, but like it's a little technical thing, that is a problem. It's a problem for me. Now, speaking to other people who are music industry people, they don't care. So, okay. It can be yes and, right. You know.
Yeah, no, that's
But you can't be in a Broadway show and sing a whole song with your eyes closed. You can't. And this is Broadway and crossover today that we're talking about.
Exactly, exactly. And given that, since you have write and perform your own music, but of course have made an entire career of singing the music of others, what would you say to our audience here today about really making something your own? Like if you are doing someone else's material, what are the modifications that you might want to make in an audition?
You guys are in a very interesting position in terms of what you can and cannot do, technically. You know, when I came out into this business, it was the 80s. You couldn't even change a key.
Exactly.
You couldn't even change a key.
You didn't go in and make it your own.
So strange.
You didn't go in and make it your own.
You didn't go in and make it your own, but I had no other choice, right? Because my voice was so high when I was younger that like even the tenor stuff, even the traditional first tenor stuff was too low for me. So I would either have to take the first tenor material that was appropriate and raise the key, which was like, I mean, it's like somebody took their firstborn children or something. Like, it was the weirdest thing. You know, and I would have to change all the keys, or I would just have to sing female songs that weren't about singing about a man. Right. You know, there are a lot of those. Nowadays, though, you know, everything is about bringing a piece of yourself into the room. So that's the good news in this conversation, is that you better bring yourself into the room. You better bring your blue hair into the room just like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's like we're in a different place. Yeah. You know, the world has expanded. The industry has expanded, quiet as it may be kept, you know, because unfortunately we don't speak about the positive enough. We, meaning the grown-ups in the room and the press and all of that, we don't speak about the good stuff enough. The good stuff, look at me. Sitting here before you, look at me. 25 years in this business, I had nothing. I couldn't get arrested for 15 years of my life in this business after I had already come and been in it for 10 years. So, yeah.
Let's talk about collaboration.
Yes.
It's one of the best parts of the business, I'm sure you believe, especially as a theater person at heart. But it can also be one of the more challenging. Mm-hmm. What would you say to our peeps today about approaching how to keep your own individual creative vision going, but also still working towards that big picture with others?
I had the gift and blessing of doing a residency at the Public Theater under George C. Wolfe for about 3 years. And one of the things that continues to resonate with me, just in terms of him, best idea in the room wins.
Yes, yes.
This is a creative space. We're building from an idea. You know, we call it from idea page to the stage. I can't have all of the answers. I'm only one person. You know, I have a vision. And very often, I will express my vision to my team, and then the way they interpret it, is far greater than anything that I could have done myself. I learned that from George. I also learned in terms of how to lead, you know, actually being vulnerable, actually saying, I don't know, is the best way to honor the artisans that are in the room with you. It's the best way to do that.
Yeah, good. Because that can be
Now, I will say this. Beware of the kind of criticism that is simply meant to assassinate you. Block that shit out. Make sure you block that shit out. But you have to become discerning about what the difference is. You have to be open enough to understand the difference and go, yes, I got you. No, I don't like that. Yes, yes. You know, like you have the right, as you sift through, to choose what's right for you and what isn't. You know, what notes are good for your vision and what aren't.
Let's talk about health.
Yeah.
spiritual health, mental health, vocal health, physical health. These are all things that go into the life of a performer. I always talk about our performers, particularly on Broadway, as athletes, Olympians, in fact, because it is Olympian. And I know you've been on a tour. I heard you talking about your tour bus life, which was kind of new for you, which I loved hearing about. But what are some of the ways that you prioritize maintaining all of those aspects of health, even down to like vocal exercises or dance or fitness or whatever the routines that you are that help you keep your endurance, especially when it comes to tour and Broadway, which are nightly?
The first thing is my mental health. The first thing you have to do is make sure that that is intact. 8 shows a week, like Julie just said. You know, we are athletes. God bless you. We are athletes. 8 hours rest a night when I'm doing 8 shows a week. I try to get 8 hours every night. When I'm doing 8 shows a week, I'm like a monk, you know.
And most Broadway stars are, if you ask them. It's like, it's not all what
Not a lot of, you know, can't drink too much.
Or at all.
Or at all. Mm-hmm. But you know, my voice is different now, so I can drink a little bit. The expectation is different. I do eat my weed, though. It's legal. I'm not gonna act like I don't do it. I do. Just eat your gummy before you go to bed.
But
Pilates. I do Pilates and yoga now. 'Cause you know, I'm 54. I don't need to be a muscle man no more. I can just be thin and healthy.
You look good. You look good. Come on.
Thank you.
Come on. No conversation with Billy Porter would be complete without him sharing a little with us about some of his inspirations, mentors. He already mentioned George C. Wolfe earlier, which I know is one. What are some of those mentors for you, and what are some of the biggest takeaways, the lessons that they've taught you, that guide you?
You know, I've had so many angels in my life, you know, who sort of kind of dropped in to the space at various different times in my life, right when I needed them, to take me to the next level of something, to show me a path or a direction that I didn't know anything about, but would help me in my dreams and desires. I've had people who I've looked up to, the Oprah Winfreys of the world, the Whitney Houstons of the world, the Quincy Joneses, the Steven Spielbergs, the Baz Luhrmanns, the Spike Lees, you know. But the one consistent energy and force of inspiration for me was my mom. And thank you. And she just passed away this year on leap year. And I think about, you know, just in this sort of grief space, how her energy and her presence and watching her and experiencing her move through life in the way that she did. You know, she was disabled her entire life due to medical malpractice. She defied all odds. She wasn't supposed to live past 30. She lived to 79. She wasn't supposed to be able to even take care of herself. She took care of herself until she was, you know, till 8 years ago. Like, I just, you know, she got up. She showed up and she showed out for her life, no matter what her physical body was doing. However it was betraying her, it never mattered. And so she is such the inspiration for that, for me. I don't know anything else or any other way because she was in front of my face my whole life. You know, if she could get up and show up in the way that she did, there's no excuse for me.
Beautiful. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Mom. I was just thinking that our audience today might benefit. We began our conversation by talking about the multi-hyphenate age that we have come into, which is so wonderful. Wasn't as embraced when, you know, people like you and me were starting out. When you produced, you produced and created the record, The Soul of Richard Rodgers. So that kind of got left out in our, we could have spent all day on all the things that Billy has done, right? But sitting here talking with you, I thought about that. We've talked a lot about the performer Billy. There's also director Billy, there's actor Billy, and there's producer Billy. So since we're here at a Grammy U event, I thought I'd ask you just a little bit that you might want to share about that aspect of doing things.
Yeah, well, my first R&B, mainstream music R&B album came out in 1996. It's called Billy Porter Untitled. You can get it now.
Look it up.
You can get it on anywhere now, actually. You couldn't get it for 20 years or more.
That's right.
Then I became famous, and magically, you
Resurface.
could find it. In between that time, you know, the R&B space, particularly back in the 90s, was very homophobic, so they kicked my little black sissy ass out. Sorry, and I did it anyway, right?
You did.
I did it anyway.
You did.
So now I'm back. And I have a new album out called Black Mona Lisa. Go get it on your Spotify. You know, it's in between. I did 3 albums on my own. So I had the mainstream space with the mainstream budget-ish. And then I did 3 independent albums. I did At the Corner of Broadway and Soul.
One of my all-time favorites, P.S.
Thank you. A live album from Joe's Pub. Then I did Billy's Back on Broadway that I did around the time that I did Kinky Boots, and that's my sort of like orchestral Broadway album.
Fantasia.
Yes, inspired by those old Barbra Streisand Broadway albums. You know, very much me. I still managed to do me. I had to be me before social media and all of this that y'all have today. I had to be me because I didn't have anything else. So like I said earlier, I had to raise all the keys and just come and just do me. And then my 4th album is called Billy Porter Presents The Soul of Richard Rodgers. And what I wanted to do was, I call it my Quincy Jones moment, because what I did actually, was really try to subtly have the conversation in the music space that nobody's really talking about, which is Broadway performers crossing over into mainstream music. You know, I find it really gross that the same stuff that I heard over 30 years ago is the same shit I'm hearing now again. And it's not based on anything other than, I don't know, I still don't understand what the difference is. You know, it's like we as theater people welcome the Alicia Keyses of the world with open arms. We do. We do. We welcome the John Legends. We welcome the Jennifer Hudsons. We welcome
Cyndi Lauper.
the Cyndi Laupers. We welcome people from the music industry into our space all the time. And when it comes time for us to cross over, the doors are locked tight, really tight. Yeah. So I'm kind of over that. I'm sort of trying to, you know, when you go and you see, hold on, my watch is ringing. When you go and you listen to the album, you know, it's me as a producer. I sing on it as well, but it's me as a music producer. And sort of, you know, Cyndi, Leslie Odom Jr. is on it, and Patina Miller guests on it, and Cynthia Erivo, and Deborah Cox, and India Ari, and Lettucey, and
Renee Elise Goldsberry.
Renee Elise Goldsberry, and, you know, and it's like the mixture of that. Go listen to it. I'm very proud of it, but I also knew, like, low key, that the arrangements of the Richard Rodgers music was more in the spirit of where I was headed, which is what you now see in Black Mona Lisa. It's a full-on pop album. It's pop, R&B, pop. It's soul pop, it's pop, it's pop. Dance, pop, house pop, like it's a real pop record. And I wanted my audiences to know that I haven't forgotten about them. Because it is, you know, it's like my Broadway audience is all of you in this room all the way up to like 90. You know, and I have to take care of all of my audiences. I went on tour with this album last year. And it was magical to see the audiences. Yeah. Because they were from like 9 to 90. All races and genders and everything. It was everything. It was everything. And that was really inspiring.
Yeah. Well, we have a really exciting opportunity for a little workshopping, but really just briefly before we get to our next segment, we have so many people in this room and who may be watching that are interested in both music and acting and singing, you know, all this multi-hyphenate that we're talking about. Is there a nugget of wisdom from the heart and mind of Billy Porter that you would share with them?
Yeah, believe in yourself. Believe in what you have to offer. And honor that. Because in the honoring of that, in the honoring of your truth, of your authenticity across the board, you teach people on the outside how to treat you and how to receive you. You know, it wasn't until I loved myself enough to take myself out of that masculinity game, that masculinity contest that's so at the forefront of everybody's mind. I took myself out of that, and then stuff started to work in ways that they hadn't before. Do that. It takes longer. It doesn't always feel like it's working.
That part.
Put one foot in front of the other. And do that.
Yeah.
Do that as best you can, you know.
Yeah, because sometimes you don't know what it's all adding up to as you go. It's only after you get, you know, somewhere like where Billy's been and you start to see it. You start to see your steps accumulating. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. We could talk to him all day, couldn't we? But we do have an amazing workshop for you. It's featuring the National Membership Grammy U representative. This talented person began his career at 14 on the Broadway national tour of The Sound of Music. Oh. Yes. They are currently a student at USC and has starred in musicals such as A Chorus Line, Carrie, and most recently Rent as Mark Cohen. So please welcome to the stage Roy Gantz. Hi, Roy.
Hello, hello.
Welcome, welcome.
How you guys doing?
And joining on the piano is the incredible Ted Firth.
Woo!
Hold on a minute. I got to watch you from the front.
All right.
Now all eyes are on you. Come on, arrangement.
There's a saying old, says that love is blind. Still we're often told, seek and ye shall find. So I'm going to seek a certain lad I've had in mind. Looking everywhere, haven't found him yet. He's the big affair I cannot forget. Only man I ever think of with regret. I'd like to add his initial to my monogram. Tell me, where is the shepherd for this lost lamb? There's a somebody I'm longing to see. I hope that he turns out to be someone to watch over me. I'm a little lamb who's lost in the wood. I know I could always be good to one who watch over me. Although he may not be the man some girls think of as handsome, to my heart he carries the key. Won't you tell him please to put on some speed, follow my lead. Oh, how I need someone to watch over me. Someone to watch over me. Thank you.
That was beautiful, Roy. Really beautiful. So, number one, song choice. Choice, song choice. Choice, great song for you. great choice. You always have to choose the right material. There's a lot of material for you to choose from. This space required a different kind of research because of the rules. So you chose this, why?
I mean, first of all,
talking to your mic.
I'll be real, honestly, had to be public domain. And I was like, I'm doing a standard. This is one of my favorite standards of all time. I love, like, Amy Winehouse has a version, Barbra Streisand has a version. Yeah.
Many people have a version.
A lot of people.
A lot of people.
A lot of people. But yeah, I related to the idea of, you know, wanting somebody who loves you to be there for you, and feeling kind of, you know, like people don't accept it.
Right. So in terms of the story for yourself, what is the trajectory that you're going through?
Yeah.
From verse to refrain all the way through.
Yeah. I think first verse is almost like a confession. It's like, here's my heart, here's what's going on, you know, asking the person to love me. Then I think it kind of progresses to an idea of like, this is what I'm going to do. And the love
is it positive? What I'm trying to get to, is it a positive ending or a negative ending?
I think positive.
So I think one of the things that I want you to try this next time around is then playing the positive.
Okay.
Play the positive.
Cool.
The whole way through. One of the things that young actors, I find, well, and not just young actors, real whole-ass professional actors and actresses on Broadway every day get up on stage and tell me no.
Yeah.
They get on stage and shake their head no the whole fucking song. And you just said you want this to be positive. I'm a real technical person because you can fix something with just stop shaking your head no. Stop shaking your head no. Keep your eyes open when you sing. You actually have this was actually a good balance. It was actually a good balance, and it was a good balance in a space of the hybrid space of singing this in a musical as a character or singing this as Roy. You know, at you know, what is it, 54 below or something. You know, it's different. It is different. It is different. So what I want you to try this time, when I teach my master classes, I do something called Carnegie Hall 101.
All right.
Or Diva 101, whichever one you'd like to tell your friends is better. So essentially, here are the rules.
Yeah.
You're at Carnegie Hall. You already have your Tony Award and your Grammy Award and all of those things. And people have come to see you perform at Carnegie Hall. So you have to enter. No, keep your mic where it is. You're in a fabulous, whatever you want to be in, actually. Who am I to say? Who am I to say? We're going to say your name. And from the minute you hit the stage to when you get to that mic, it's about your presence. Connect with us. You're already doing it. And I just want to make sure you keep doing that. Keep connecting with us. Stop shaking your head no. You're very advanced. So like these are really technical things for me. And take a breath. At the end of it, when you go to your money note, and if you're going to modify that vowel, you got to take a breath. I don't mind you modifying the vowel. And you cleaned it up on the end too, if you noticed. you closed in so that we knew what that was. You're gonna love more. Yeah, you've modified it. It's good. Sometimes you have to modify it. Close it on the end like you did. And just make sure you're connecting to us. Don't get lost. Don't get lost. If you feel like you're getting lost, all of us are here. Look in our eyes. Let this beautiful lady bring you back to being present right here. Okay? Let's try it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Carnegie Hall is proud to present Roy Gantz.
A star, bitch!
There's a saying, oh.
Stop shaking your head, no! Go ahead.
There's a saying old, says that love is blind. Still we're often told, seek and ye shall find. So I'm going to seek a certain lad I've had in mind. Looking everywhere, haven't found him yet. He's the big affair I cannot forget. Only man I ever think of with regret. I'd like to add his initial to my monogram. Tell me, where is the shepherd for this lost lamb? There's a somebody I'm longing to see. I hope that he turns out to be someone to watch over me. I'm a little lamb who's lost in the wood. I know I could always be good to one who watch over me. Although he may not be the man some girls think of as handsome, to my heart he carries the key. Won't you tell him please to put on some speed, follow my lead. Oh, how I need someone to watch over me. Someone to watch over me.
Good. Just something to think about. Really beautiful, Roy. We sing with our whole bodies. We have to use our whole bodies. right? Sometimes we get constricted here. You know, take up space. Take up space. I assure you, when you get to that high note that you're concerned about that you don't need to be concerned about, as opposed to open it up here. Open up. I'm not convinced that you know the melody though. Ba ba da ba ba ba. What's that melody?
There's a somebody who's.
What is it?
There's a somebody I'm longing.
Play melody. Ba 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 ba.
And my voice teacher was on me about that.
Ba ba. But you got to learn that melody.
Yeah. Somebody.
It's really, really, really minute. It's really a small thing. It's not the melody though. Yeah. You got to hit that melody because it's so popular. Yeah. And I'm sitting there going, is he choosing to sing it wrong? Because there's a difference. You can make a choice, but I'm like, he don't know it. He don't know it. Because you sang it wrong every time. He don't know it.
You got me.
And there was also another, although he may not be the man some girls think of
as handsome.
That's the melody.
Cool.
Just in this. If you go back to that bridge, you can sing it differently. Yeah. But like the first time out, sing the melody, you can, you know, but just,
yeah.
And listen, I sing it the way you want.
Yeah.
If anybody's going to say sing it the way you want, it's me. And simultaneously, it's a yes and.
Yeah.
You know, just as, particularly in the theater, just as